Conor Jordan, the captain of Raharney, and Ciaran Slevin, who lifted the Leinster title 2 years ago in studio. Good afternoon to you, lads.
How are you doing?
Very interesting game coming up. I suppose pretty close proximity between you, including Jared Heelan manages some of the Doyles in school and teaches, I think, some of them over in Rochford Bridge as well. Ciaran, to come to you first on this one, I mean, I would imagine massive relief after what happened last weekend, because it was hard listening to it whenever we were playing it and then watching on TG Carr afterwards. You were pushed all the way by Shamaliers last weekend.
Yeah, we were. We kind of expected that going down as well. That we'd get tough. Like, I don't know if the team has done well in the last number of years down in Wexford Park. And in fairness to Shamaliers, that the true effort in that, and just pure relief at the end to get over with the win.
Conor, no such panic-free, a good performance. Probably maybe one of your better performances the year that you put in against Mullins.
I'd kind of disagree with you, to be honest. I know, like, they came close to us for a while when maybe they shouldn't have been let. Like, we got the great start. If we hadn't got that, like, as it turns out, we would have been in trouble. It gave us a little bit of comfort. We were gone out of the game for a half an hour, and when they had their period of dominance done, they were still a point behind. So maybe that gave us a little bit of comfort, and we got the goal. We pushed on, but still very patchy performance.
Right. In terms of the year, I mean, how are you feeling? Because I know you said after the county final as well that maybe exactly like the last year, you allowed Pollard back into it a little bit.
Yeah, that's I suppose Clonkill maybe we did perform well. Like, definitely, like, played a good solid first half. Maybe went over for 5 or 10 minutes, but I mean, you'd expect that. You don't expect to be dominant all the time. But as I said, in the county final, we maybe played well for 10 minutes and went over for 30 or 40. So we've been going a little bit like that lately, and obviously next Sunday we won't be able to afford to do that. So,
Ciaran, for yourselves, I mean, we'll talk maybe about Keelan Kiley, because everyone was talking about him after the last day. I remember seeing him at under 16 and the long pucks and so on, and there's been this pressure on him that he's going to be a very good hurler. We're talking about the Doyles and the pressure on them as well. But Keelan seems to have improved his temperament, his striking. He's come on a long way in the last 18 months or so.
Yeah, he has, in fairness to him. Like people kind of tend to forget that he's still only 17 years of age. Like, he seems to have been around forever, and like, he's only been a matter of time before he's going to make the step up onto our senior team. And like, he's added so much to it since he came up. Like, he's great pace, strength. He's a big lad, and even just his discipline's improved. No end. Since that's probably the one thing that most people are worried about. But Keelan, when he stepped up, that could he handle the hits? Like, could he handle maybe a lad's targeting him because he's a fiery temper? But in fairness to the chap, he stood up well now, and we're kind of hopefully stand up again the next day. It's
the first year he's been properly, I suppose, integrated into the team, because you've been playing intermediate before, playing a bit of senior. He came on against Owler Dabala last year when you were chasing the game, but now he's a starter and becoming a fairly key player despite being only 17.
Yeah, well, he was kind of part of the panel last year there for a while as well, and he was playing intermediate, like you said, and we just kind of managing him and trying to keep him fairly fresh coming up, and because he'd done an awful lot of hurling for a young fella. And but this year, he stepped up, and he's probably one of the key players we have in our forward line. It's great to see him coming through, and hopefully he had a great game the last day, 4 points from play, including the winner. Like, so hopefully he can do it again now the next day.
Well, Conor, you're not without your own prodigies. People have been talking about the Doyles since the Féile a few years ago when they ran riot down there. They're becoming men as well, and they play an awful lot of sport. June minors last year.
They were playing the minor there today as well, and they won. So I suppose the pressure is maybe more so on them in underage, where they're expected, like, I suppose we reckon, like, if they don't really show up, I think the beauty about our team is that somebody else is going to, and I'd maybe say the same about Kilcormac as well. Like, we've kind of half looked through their stats. We'll have another look at them next week, but like, if these young lads don't show up, like, for the seniors, somebody else will carry the can. So there's maybe less pressure on them at senior level than there is where minors today, if they didn't show up, they maybe weren't going to win, so.
There's something about Johnny Gravel as well. You mentioned that you've kind of half gone through the stats. Obviously there's a plan to do even more research on them. So.
I'd say Johnny has gone through the stats all right, but he hasn't relayed them to us yet. But I suppose you'd have a quick look yourself as well. So Johnny does a lot of detail on it as well. But I suppose at the end of the day, we have to concentrate on our own performance. But as he says, it's a box-ticking exercise. It's nice to know what to expect and that sort of thing as well. So.
I know Conor isn't going to give out a whole lot about what they know about KK. Has Danny been able to tell you a whole lot about Raharney? Because I know he was in for the Westmeath job, and he knows a good bit about Westmeath hurling as well.
Well, according to Danny, he wasn't in for the Westmeath job, so
we can agree to disagree on that one.
I know, like, Danny, Danny's kind of the man for that. He kind of leaves us to worry about ourselves, same as Conor's saying there. Like, we just kind of worry about our own performance. We've enough to do to kind of keep ourselves, like Conor said earlier on there, that they've been kind of hurling in fits and starts in games as well, and we find we're doing the same thing for the last this year as well. And the county final was the only one where we kind of hurled well, and Danny he's the man. He went down to Wexford Park to watch Shamaliers play, and I'm sure he's looked over Raharney. We've seen Raharney playing Killoughey a few years ago as well, and we know what to expect, you know, roughly, and Danny kind of takes care of the rest, and we can just worry about ourselves, to be honest.
I suppose the other thing about KK is you've been on the road an awful long time. I mean, this is effectively the third year in a row that you've hurled 12 months of the year. Hard going.
It is hard going, yeah, but you don't mind when you're winning. Like, for years there, we couldn't win a championship, and you know we'd love to be playing this time of the year. And now that it's happening, we're kind of just trying to make the most of it. Like last year, we felt we let ourselves down against Oulart to a certain extent. You know, going in with the lead at half time and then kind of falling apart in the second half. I think that was pure tiredness more than anything else. And Danny and the boys kind of trying to keep us fresh this year now, and knowing when to lay off and leaving lads, just give them a rest or whatever, and hopefully it'll pay off now.
Well, Conor, KK have very good pedigree in Leinster. They've only lost the one game in the 3 years they've been there. Your pedigree in Leinster is good as well. I mean, when you were playing intermediate, you got to the final and were unfortunately beaten.
Yeah.
Obviously, you got that win against Killoughey, who everyone is referencing back to. But aside from the Killoughey game, you were very lucky not to beat Oulart that year they got to the final as well.
The year we played Oulart, I'd have qualms about it. Like, if you were playing centre back that day, you couldn't see the goalie, the opposition goalie, pucking out the ball with the fog. Like, I'd say if it was the Kilkenny champions playing Oulart that day, the game wouldn't have went ahead. I'd always have a feeling was Oulart are coming up to beat Raharney, so that's why the game went ahead. So look, it finished with only a goal in it, but we got a couple of goals due to the fog. Like, they might have beaten us by more without the fog, but I'd always kind of say we never really got the full chance at it. We're looking forward to Sunday. Like, I know Kilcormac are not going to underestimate us. The fact that we have that win over Killoughey under our belt, like, we're not going to try and play the underdog card, but we believe we can get a victory. Home advantage, I suppose, has been negated. They're as close to Mullingar as us, but we'll go in believing anyway. We're well used to playing in Cusack Park, and I suppose the pressure will all be on them. That's the Offaly champions again, the Westmeath boys, so hopefully the crowd can get behind us and give us a lift. I saw they had a very big crowd in Wexford Park with them, and I think the Carlow crowd outnumbered our crowd, so hopefully a big crowd and the Westmeath clubs will get behind us now the next day.
Is it a bit special for you to be going out into Leinster as well, though, because I suppose KK are into their third year in a row, and I remember when they first won it, it was that bit mental and crazy. But for you guys, you've had a couple of years of disappointments, you know, where the championship was wrestled away, and then Castletowngeoghegan had won it last year as well. Yeah. So no doubt you're a bit hungry, having been a few years away from it. Yeah,
well, like especially last year we finished. I mean, we were finished very early. We were nearly in a relegation playoff. We were in a relegation playoff in the football, so we had a long winter to have a look at ourselves. But in fairness, it's a credit to all the lads as well, to show how strong we've come back. We gave Gary Castle a decent game, but we probably didn't show up again them. That's how our year went in both sports. It's been a long year. We've worked very hard, and it is, like, I suppose the fact that we've never done two in a row, we're nearly trying to be better than Clonkill, trying to get further than they have in Leinster, trying to do better than Castletown. That's where we're kind of pitting ourselves against, you know. So.
Well, Ciaran, in terms of the support, a massive crowd went down to Wexford, and even on the video when you saw it afterwards, like the amount of green and gold that was there. I mean, you've been very much blessed by the way your community has supported you over the last few years. I mean, I drive through the area on the way to work every day, and once again, the green and the gold is out ahead of next week.
Yeah, in fairness now, you know, we can have no kind of qualms about the crowd that follow us. It's been unbelievable. Like, we thought that they couldn't be bettered when in 2012 when we went to the All Ireland. We had massive crowds, but the last day was unbelievable down in Wexford, especially to make that trip down there. I remember we were warming up. I mean, half an hour before the match, and we could hear bow-rounds going in the stands and stuff. Like, they're just half cracked anyway at the best of times, but it had been unbelievable, you know. And we just kind of tried to keep going. You know, when you're 10 minutes left and you're starting to feel a bit tired, like, and they're roaring and shouting in the stands, you kind of get that bit of a lift as well. And they're credit to the club as well. They put as much into it as we do. So.
Well, we won't play the underdog kind of favourite game that could go on between the two of you here now at the moment. But Ciaran, when you go to play against Raharney in Cusack Park, I'm sure you're going to be driven somewhat by what happened last year. You know, where a lot of people expected you to get to a Leinster final, and then the game slipped against Oulart in the second half. I'm sure you're very driven to try and get back into a final.
Well, that's it. Like, we feel, you know, there's a lot of drive there from last year because we felt like we let ourselves down, and it's not even the fact that people expect us. I know there's a lot of talk around the county that people expect us to get to a Leinster final, but that was never inside in our club. Like, that Danny and them never even mentioned when we got as far as the county final. It was that, and then the last day was just Shelmaliers beat them, and then the next day Raharney, and that's the way we look at every game. Like, in 2012 we done the same thing, and it served us well. We went all the way to the All Ireland, so yeah, we'll be just doing the same thing again now, just taking Raharney, you know, one day as it comes, one game as it comes, and, you know, hopefully get the right result.
Well, Conor, it seems to be a bit of a running joke between yourselves and the team, and a bit of a rib at John Shaw this year about his new position, because, you know, against Killoughey he played very effectively further out the field. Now gone into the corner there, and usually the older players get shuttled away there towards the end of their career. What does he offer to you at corner forward though?
Sure, the bit of experience, I suppose the main thing John brings is he ignites the work rate up on the forwards, like especially with the younger lads that are maybe coming through games where they don't have to work as hard because they're bigger and stronger than everyone else, whereas John has, I suppose, led by example to show that you have to, at senior level, if you're not working, you're going to the sideline or whatever. He's, I suppose, at the beginning of the year, he was in recovery from his cruciate last year. I mean, he played the quarter-final last year with a torn cruciate ligament and scored 1, 2 or 3. So that shows you the dedication he brings, and he's maybe struggled a little bit at the beginning of the year with the knee or whatever, but he's come right now, he's worked hard, and at the last day I think he showed his experience kind of, and hopefully he can do it now the next day as well.
The players want to play against the best. I mean, are you looking forward to tackling maybe Dan Kearns next week? If
Yeah,
they're usual positions?
It's I suppose, having played with the county and that as well, it's an honour to go out again, these boys who are kind of county standard really and that, so we're certainly relishing the challenge. As I say, I was asked last weekend who I'd prefer to win with Shelmaliers and Kilcormac, and even though it maybe negates our home advantage a little bit, I was kind of hoping Kilcormac, a little bit of a local rivalry and that, it'll get maybe a bit more in the papers and that, and sure, that's what you want, a bit of publicity for the club and drive things on.
Well, that's it. I suppose we chat about it now. I mean, you know, there was a breakthrough for the Offaly clubs in recent times with KK and Killoughey winning championships. What would it mean for a Westmeath team? Whatever win it, even to get into a final, would be huge, because it's not that long ago that Westmeath, as we said, were playing intermediate before Clonkill's breakthrough. It would be another big breakthrough for Westmeath hurling to get to a Leinster club final. Yeah,
I think yes. Like in Westmeath, I think we have 3 extremely strong clubs at the moment ourselves: Clonkill and Castletown. Like when we get to Leinster in the last few years, there hasn't been big gaps, or there's been no hammering stitched out, so that's the work that's going in, that, and hopefully the other clubs can pull up as well and drive on the county. I suppose if we had 13 or 14 clubs in the county team might be doing better. Like, so it puts a little bit more pressure on the 5 or 6 senior clubs that are going strong to keep feeding the county team year in, year out. But the club championship certainly is more of an equaliser, kind of. It's much better to win it maybe with your own lads, and I suppose there's big rivalries in Westmeath, so like ourselves in Clonkill, there'll be no love lost, but hopefully the other people can get behind us, because if we got to a Leinster final, then we're a bigger scalp going into the Westmeath championship next year. So.
Of course, and I suppose, Ciaran, that's one of the romantic things about the club championship, is the fact that, you know, Offaly haven't been going well, but the clubs have been doing very well. You saw, you know, Carlow hurling's not in a great state, but yet you see a Carlow team in an All-Ireland final. It does bring things down to a certain level compared to the counties.
Yeah, well, you see, like, it purely comes down to a club thing, you know, like you've been growing up with them lads and heard of them lads all their life, and, you know, kind of it's a close-knit group, and like most clubs will be close-knit groups, and it's kind of more special when you do win something with your lads you grew up all your life and that heard them all your life, that it kind of makes it more special and more romantic, as you said.
Do you have to pinch yourself sometimes about the fact that, I remember the amount of finals that she lost, and you were involved in a good few of them, you know, where you got to semi-finals and finals, were beaten by the other teams in the county. To think that you've now had 3 in a row after waiting so long to actually win one.
That probably hasn't sunken in yet, really, you know, because I remember in 2012 when we won the county finals, that was fine by me, you know. If we didn't go a step further, it didn't bother me, like, but as you go on, then you kind of get hungry for more, and I know the last couple of years has been mental, really, to not think that we've put together 3 in a row, considering having lost over 4 or 5 finals and 8 or 9 semi-finals, whatever it was, like. But yeah, you do kind of have to pinch yourself every now and again and kind of realise that you're still not dreaming, and that you have to kind of get up and hurl against like Raharney now next weekend.
I'd imagine on the final note for you, Ciaran, is relishing the fact that you'll be going to Killoughey Park next week. I mean, it must be great to be involved in the semi-final at this time of year. That's what everyone wants to be involved in.
That's it. That's basically it. You know, you don't mind, like, it was an awful journey having to go to Wexford last weekend, but we didn't mind one bit, because you're still involved. Like, there's a lot of lads sitting at home and from other clubs that love to be in the position we're in, and the same with the boys over in Raharney. You know, like, you love these type of days and these type of weekends, like, with your club, and I'm hoping a big crowd from KK the next day again, and hopefully we get a good result.
Well, Conor, lightning struck 4 years ago when Killoughey went up there. It was a difficult day to get a result, and he fought it out. Are you hoping that maybe lightning might strike twice next weekend?
Yeah, well, I suppose every game is a fight at this time of the year. If you look at the results today, and there's not too many, I suppose, with conditions and that, it slows things down, and there's not too many big victories at this time of the year. So, as I say, as he said, we'll be relying on the crowd to get behind us, and just to let him know you're not allowed to bring a bower on in unless you're wearing blue into Music Park next weekend.
I have a job getting one in through the
broke,
gate in Cusack Park.
he broke the bower on anyway, I think, anyway, so no
€15 extra for a bower on.
You may try and find a new bower on. Gentlemen, all I can do is stay entirely impartial. The best of luck to both clubs next weekend. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you.